Do MMOs have problems these days? I think they have a lot of problems these days, and Nixon made a video called "This is, I think, the biggest problem with MMOs today." And we have seen it with like some MMOs like New World and some other ones, especially like new ones. They don't live for that long. Like the hype goes down pretty fast. And yeah, let's see what Nixium has to say about that. And I will also share my thoughts then.
Why is it nowadays that every single MMO developer out there treats the level up experience in their game like it's some big, giant, boring grind that just needs to be sludged through in order to get to end game because, oh yeah, that's where the real fun is. How many MMOs exist nowadays where you start playing it because your friends are all playing it, you get to like level 15 or something, you're bored out of your mind, and your friends are like, nah dude, like you gotta get to level 60, you gotta get to level 80, you gotta get to level 200 something.
But if the path is boring to get there?
What kind of garbage is that? A video game needs to be fun and entertaining from the moment that you log in to the moment that you log out. Otherwise, what the heck is even the point of playing it?
That is true. I feel like sometimes it's even better to give like some sort of hype at the beginning, even though you want to give it during end game. And then like you give even more hype at the end game. Okay, it's kind of like that. You have to make a game where, and this is like probably the big challenge in making a game, where there's like a hype when you start playing the game and it's like really fun. So you got some retention and people actually keep playing. But at the end game, there's like some sort of extra cookie you give to the player, some sort of extra sweet stuff, right? Like you have to do it like that when you develop a game. Give them something exciting at the beginning, but give still the option for something more exciting at the end game, something that's even more fun. But yeah, I feel like a lot of companies are not hitting the mark really with that, right? Like we see this a lot. And I also think it's not good to release games based on schedule and just rush them out with lots of bugs like New World. Like I was really happy when New World came out and I thought like, oh, this would be my main game. I would play it all the time, make hundreds of thousands of videos on this channel. But what happened, this game was full of bugs and we just looked at it a few months and then we were gone.
If you have to go through 500 hours of crap and garbage just to get to a few hours of fun, that's not a good game. And this is something that I've been thinking about a lot for the past several weeks ever since I started playing Classic WoW Hardcore. You see, in this version of World of Warcraft, you're trying to hit level 70 without dying, and if you do die, you have to delete your character right after. And this has created an extraordinarily challenging way to play the game that has hooked thousands of players. In fact,
you know what's like interesting about this? I actually think this comes from Minecraft, because we have in Minecraft Hardcore, if you die it's over, right? Now we have this thing in WoW from Minecraft, what is very interesting, and people actually really have fun with that because there's some adrenaline rush when you like play through. Like you're getting excited. There are like sometimes those moments where you think your character is going to die and everything is over because you accidentally pull 2 mobs or 3, because that's how hard it is in Classic, right? Like 2 or 3 mobs early game can be a challenge, and like people really love it, it seems.
Thousands of players. In fact, the community has been growing so fast recently that Blizzard is even releasing official hardcore realms. I just made a video on that recently. Go check that one out.
Yeah,
but,
I saw the
as
news.
I've been doing Classic WoW Hardcore, and as I've been dying, and I've been having to restart in Durotar and Tirisfal Glades, Dunmore, Elwyn Forest, whatever, as I've been having to do the same starting zones over and over again, I've never gotten bored of it. And I'm talking with all these people in guilds and in the general chat, and they're not bored of it either. People will say, oh yeah, this is my 20th character. Oh yeah, this is my 10th character. Here we go again, Durotar for the 17th time, and they're not bored of it. And why is that? If you told me that I had to level up through Battle for Azeroth or Shadowlands again in retail WoW, I would tear my eyes out. But if you told me, oh hey, you gotta do Tirisfal Glades for the 10,000th time since you started playing this game in 2005, wouldn't bother me one bit. I would say, dude, let's do it. I'd make that undead rogue or that undead mage and I'd dive right in. And why is that? Blizzard back in the day clearly had a completely different mindset when it came to the level up experience in World of Warcraft. They wanted the leveling to be fun. They knew that you were going to spend untold numbers of hours just trying to get to level 60, and they wanted to make sure that that adventure hooked you right from the beginning. And there's a lot that we
You know what hooked me the most about WoW? I'm gonna be honest. So I was like playing Warcraft 3 a lot, right? And it's a strategy game. It's isometric view, right? Like you look from top and stuff. Like you're not like running around like freaking first person, right? And like what I loved so much about it was suddenly like a game came out where I could like be not just a unit from like watching from the top and I'm like freaking running around and stuff. No, but I'm actually like inside the world and not even like not I didn't play like first person. I mean that's kind of weird, right? But I was like close like zoomed in on my character. I saw what's like next to me. I could like walk into individual houses. You can't do that in freaking Warcraft 3. Like you don't walk units into buildings. That's not possible. You just destroy them or use them to create units, right? But it was kind of cool to have this kind of experience where I'm like a Warcraft 3 environment and I can walk into houses, caves and stuff. And I'm just like one single unit, you could say, right? And I learn spells as I progress and stuff. Like this was so exciting to me, but that was because I was a hardcore Warcraft 3 player. This is how I actually got into WoW, right? I think like a lot of us got into WoW because we played Warcraft 3 before that, right? How did you get into WoW? Let me know in the comment section. Was it just like me with Warcraft 3 and you were hyped to actually explore the world and enter buildings and stuff and have like this different kind of feeling, right? Yeah, let me know in the comment section. If you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content.
we could talk about that has
this was an epic
lended to
beginning.
that hook. What causes it? The first things for me that come to mind, like, oh, you know, why do I like classic WoW leveling so much, even like in
Because more difficult.
Zones? I would say, well, I love the fact that all the gear matters and is relevant. I love learning my new class abilities and seeing what's coming next. I love earning, you know, the dual wielding as a rogue at level 10, the Void Walker as a warlock. I like earning that first green robe as a priest when you get to Brill and Tirisfal Glades, getting your first green item drop out in the world. There's so much to say. Every single time you level a new character in WoW, it's a memorable experience. You go out, you pick up professions in order to make your character even stronger than the guy next to you. You take the time to mine those nodes or skin those wolves or whatever, and suddenly you feel like a badass walking around in the gear that you crafted yourself with a sharpened weapon that you have sharpened with your own two hands. And I don't know, everything feels impactful. Everything feels like it's worth doing. And this is a huge contrast to modern World of Warcraft and other modern MMOs, where picking up professions or getting new pieces of gear or whatever is completely meaningless. It's completely meaningless. It has no impact whatsoever. It does not make the mobs less dangerous. It does not even make the level up experience feel like it's going faster. If anything, maybe you're killing mobs like 0.001% faster. That's how it feels. And it's boring. If I'm playing an orc in Durotar and I'm leaving Razor Hill and I'm a miner and a blacksmith and I'm a warrior, I'm thinking about several things. I'm thinking, man, I really need to get healing potions. Those would be very useful for me when I face Fizzle down in...
Are you ever using healing potions in retail WoW? I think I've never, like, while leveling, have I ever even used one? I don't think so, right? Like, I was never in such a situation where I had to use a healing potion. Yeah, I can think of a scenario where I did that. Like, but yo, in Classic WoW, I use them quite often, actually. I have to admit, like, in Classic WoW, I sometimes need those potions. But Retail WoW, no. And there's, like, an issue with the difficulty. Yo, they need to, like, freaking nerf us down or something. Or buff everything around us. Like, I say this is the same with the dungeons. I feel like normal dungeons are way too easy in Retail WoW. While Mythic dungeons are way too difficult. Like... they need to bring this down somehow. Like, the problem is with WoW, this is how I see it. The ceiling is too high and the floor is too low, if that makes sense, right? So we need to bring the floor closer to the ceiling, but the ceiling also like a little bit down, so it means kind of like more in the middle. And this is what I feel like Classic WoW is kind of like doing, if you look at it, right? Because like the raids are not as hardcore and difficult and complicated as it is in Retail WoW, where you have like a million mechanics that you have to watch out for. You need this, you need that, or you have like some timer or something with like especially hierarchies and plus, right? Like you don't have this kind of thingy with like Classic WoW, but you have some difficulty from the beginning of the early game, right? And it's still like that raids have a challenge. I'm not saying it's like easy peasy. You have still some attention that you have to pay to, but it's not as complex as these days mythic raiding and with world first and all that. But yeah, I feel like I hope in a future expansion they're gonna address how easy it is in retail WoW at the early stages of the game, and that they actually do something about it so there's more of a challenge. That would be really cool.
like the canyons later on down the road.
It's always the same issue.
I'm at Northwatch Keep or whatever that little human like castle is.
Too easy.
I need to be gathering linen cloth to level up my first aid. That's going to be very useful to me as a warrior. I need to keep my eyes out for mining nodes because I need to create a new copper vest.
Like here, look, this was actually a good example. So he was earlier even with a friend called Hot Anime Girl for some reason. What an interesting name. Like look, Gluckzuk here is at almost half the health. The mob in front of her or him is on like 1/3 of the health, right? Like half health, 1/3 of the health. And this is how combat should be, where you actually fight some mobs and you just barely beat them, right? And you don't have this kind of fighting in retail. Wow, everything's just so easy. I pull 5 mobs, they all die, I still have more than half my health. Like, that's not how combat or the early game experience is supposed to be. Like, even in freaking Skyrim sometimes, you have to be careful when you're walking around that you don't pull too many wolves or bandits, because in early game you can freaking die to that. Like, I feel like here there needs to be something done with retail WoW, like seriously.
That little human like castle is, I need to be gathering linen cloth to level up my first aid. That's going to be very useful to me as a warrior. I need to keep my eyes out for mining nodes because I need to create a new copper vest. I need to level up my blacksmithing. I want to make that green 2-handed axe that's going to make me unkillable for so many levels. I'm thinking about all this stuff on top of the quests that I have to do, on top of the fact that I'm in the world, I'm planning out my route. You're more engaged with the game. And this is something that I wish that the modern game had. And so I've been sitting here pondering on that engagement, asking myself, do I feel this way when I play Dragonflight, for example? When I'm leveling a new character on the Dragon Isles?
It's too easy.
I mean, not really. I would say that leveling in Dragonflight is way better than WoW has been in the past few years.
That's true.
It's a lot of fun. There's all these cool systems that you can unlock, new things to do.
It's
but
definitely
for
better.
me, when I was leveling in Dragonflight, there was no moment where I freaked out and I got really excited, kind of like you do when you get your first 6-slot bag dropping off of a wolf in Dun Moreau. Something where you're like, wow, this is going to be extremely useful to me in the future. I am happy that this happened. This is great. It just changed my entire strategy playing forward in the game. I don't know. There was never really a moment like that for me in Dragonflight. In Star Wars The Old Republic, a game I recently just leveled through,
Sith
I
Warrior.
didn't really have a moment like that. Even in Elder Scrolls Online, a game that I really enjoy, ESO,
Yeah,
you don't
ESO is
really
good.
have those moments. Modern MMOs just treat the level up experience like it's just
Like, this is my issue with actually ESO. Like, ESO is a good game, for example. But the problem I have is, if I do like quests in ESO, it's like reading a book. It's a great story, but there's no exciting combat, in my opinion. Like, this is something ESO is lacking. It has such a good story. Like, all the NPCs are voiced, what is really great. We don't have that in WoW. Like, a lot of NPCs are unfortunately not voiced. I wish they were. So people are using some tools like AI generated voice already and stuff for WoW. But like, seriously, like, I feel like ESO, they are so good when it comes to environment, design, like the way stuff looks, like quests, that there's actually some interesting story. You bond with some of those quest givers and they become later on important characters that come back, sort of like with Final Fantasy XIV, you could say, right? And the story is so good, but the combat is just so freaking easy. Like, I can run through 10 mobs even in ESO and I kill everything. I don't have any issues. I just keep using my overpowered healing, my dots, my AoE skills, everything. It's just way too easy, right? This is the issue with most MMOs. I'm like wondering, who do they want to appeal to? People that are super noobs in a game or what? Like, I feel like you're only for some time a noob anyway in a game until you get better, right? So what if you want to have a second playthrough through the game? Is that gonna be fun anymore? Like, you can be the super noob that doesn't know how to use any skills. You play a game for like 1 or 2 months and then suddenly you're an average player. And then you come back after 2 months, you want to level a new character and suddenly it's too easy, so you get bored and tired and then you just quit the game. I think nobody wants that when it comes to like game development. So yeah, I feel like those gaming companies, they need to step up the difficulty in their games. Like, seriously.
Have those moments. Modern MMOs just treat the level up experience like it's just a chore. And if you're gonna treat the level up content like it's just this boring grind that needs to be just drudged through, why even have it in the first place? Just have players start at max level and just jump right into the end game. What is the purpose of early game? Early game in an MMO should fill you with a sense of adventure. Early game should be
I hope Ash
teaching
of
you how to
Creation
play
does
your
better
class.
with that.
Early game should be introducing you to the lore, to the world, the mechanics of the game. It should be introducing you to treasures and moments that make you go, whoa, that was awesome. In an MMORPG, a game all about leaving this world, you know, behind and immersing ourselves into a whole new world, an MMO needs to cultivate a feeling of going on an adventure. And modern games compared to older MMOs just don't have that. There's barely any MMOs that really adhere to this formula and made it like a core concept of their gameplay. You have early World of Warcraft, Lord of the Rings Online, Star Wars Galaxies, and you know, what other ones are there? I don't really remember. Maybe Warhammer Online when it first came out, but that was so long ago, I don't remember. It's just fascinating watching all these people playing classic hardcore, dying at level 8, level 10, level 20 or something,
he died.
and then just starting all over again, same zones, and they have no problem.
So
with
frustrating.
It. They're just like, oh, cool, let's do it again. And it just really shows how good Blizzard's old school game design was in the fact that it's...
You know what? Like, the only reason why I don't play freaking hardcore yet, maybe I'll give it a try, because like, what if I'm like, okay, he's like level 19 when he died, right? But what if I'm like level 40 or something and this happens to me? Like, if it happens before level 30, I can live with that. But what if my hardcore character somehow gets to level 40 or so? And then I die? I would be super upset. Like, all those days I spent leveling. Because it takes days to get there, maybe even longer. Yo. Yeah, this is why I don't play hardcore. I would give it a try, but... yeah.
Good Blizzard's old school game design was in the fact that it's so replayable. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are going to disagree with that. So that's my rant for the day, fellas.
No, it was really good.
Share a few thoughts with you guys.
It was more simple, but yet more
observations
difficult.
that I've seen while playing WoW recently and seeing this big change in the community. What do you guys think, though? Do I have a point? Am I just being silly? And if you don't know anything about classic WoW hardcore, by the way, check out this video. I gave classic WoW hardcore a chance on your screen right now because in that video I go through my entire adventure.
Alright, that's fascinating.
Leading level 1 raids, finally getting a girlfriend, and also harassing my friend and desperately trying to teach him how to play WoW.
Yo, that's funny. That's really, really funny. But I actually agree with him with everything he said there. When it comes like difficulty, like modern MMOs are really a joke. Like, I'm sorry, but like I get the same experience when I level like a new character in Elder Scrolls Online. I've heard from people even BDO is like crazy easy, right? When you like level up. Like, what else is there? New World, I feel like New World was also quite easy, even from early game and stuff. I mean, you do have some cool mechanics, and sometimes you have to be careful in New World. So maybe I would say from like, if I have to compare like New World difficulty with retail WoW difficulty while leveling, I have to give New World a bit of credit on that, because it's like a little bit at least more difficult, right? But just a little bit. But yeah, I feel like MMOs these days, they don't give a good leveling experience. And with that, they don't have like a retention of people. Like, people are just playing for a couple of days, they get tired, they leave the game, and the numbers go down. And this has a boomerang effect, because it's kind of like that. So you're playing a game, and you play it because it's fun, most likely, yeah, but also because it's popular, because popularity also matters to people. Because you don't want to log into an MMO, walk everywhere, and you don't see any player, or just like 1 or 2 players in like an hour or something. Like, just go on a dead WoW Classic server and you will know what I'm talking about. You're just gonna run around for hours until you see someone. And like, people not gonna play this kind of game on this server if there's like nobody, right? So it's important to have in an MMO a high population, so you actually can do dungeons, you can do PvP, you can interact with the community. Yeah, but to have a high number, you need to have people engaged to stay around, so that you have like both aspects of the game, the fun one and the social one. I feel like MMOs these days struggle to hit both marks because they want to make it casual friendly, and with that they get like a high population. Because if a game is easy, a lot of people that have never played it before are more likely to try it because they don't want to embarrass themselves in front of others or something, right? Or maybe they have like not a high self-esteem, so they want to be winners, so they start playing a game at the beginning and they're like, oh, I'm so strong, I'm so good at it, even though they are not, but because the game's so easy. But then the hype dies down very, very quickly once they reach like mid-level or like mid-game or maybe end-game, right? So, yeah. This is the problem, like they need to make stuff more difficult, but at the same time get a lot of players engaged and to try the game. Especially like new players. I feel like the MMO community is aging. And aging more and more. What do I mean by that? We have more and more like people in their 30s and 40s than we have actually people like their early 20s these days. Like I don't see too many like super young folks get into MMOs. Like for us back in the day when like WoW first launched, like it was all of like 16, 18, 19-year-olds that were getting into it, right? But now like if you see like look at the community and like new players, it's most like mid-20s or so. And like 30s that get into the game. You no longer see people that are like 18, 19 try them out. Like this is just a small percentage. And that's actually sad because we as a community from like WoW have aged with WoW, but why are there like no MMOs like WoW where people can age with them and 10 years later talk about, oh, you remember back in the day 10 years ago we got into MMOs, we just graduated from high school, whatever, we got like a part-time job, we were able to afford a subscription every month and we've been playing this game for years. Do you remember those days? Like you would not have that like 10, 20 years from now if the MMOs keep staying the way they are. Because WoW is probably like the last of those, maybe. I mean, there are some people years old that stick around for like several years, but it's just a small percentage in comparison to WoW. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think about MMOs, if you also think they're too easy. And if you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. And if you guys enjoyed this video and thought it was informative, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. And I will see you guys next time.